Be like that. Okay.
In this video. In this video, I'm going to show you a progression of pad holding, which is my system of pad holding, not just to train my instructors here, but the students learn this pad holding as well to keep the training consistent enough so that way later on when more advanced or complex ideas come into play, we now have a foundation of training. If you are a student here at the Academy, you can use this video as a reference point so that way it helps assist in your training here. Or if you are a subscriber on my channel, you're more than welcome to use this method of training with whoever that you want to train with. So let's get into it. The progression here is 6 games, okay? The very first game is a simple one, and that's basically hitting the pad. If I were to use like big words to it, it would be target acquisition, right? See the target, hit the target. So game number 1, hit the pad. That's our jab. That's our cross. That's our kick. That's our kick. And the whole idea is to get our fighter to learn to see a target, hit the target, and recognize opportunities. Very simple. Everyone knows how to do that. All right, game number 2. This is the introduction to the exchange, where we have a defensive maneuver and then a counter action right afterwards. So in this case, this will be our base drill, a very simple one. It starts off with parrying the jab and returning jab cross. Parrying the cross, returning cross hook. Covering the hook, returning hook cross, lead kick. And then shielding the kick, returning cross hook and the kick, followed up by the foot jab. Because we always want to make sure that there is a proper exit rather than applying their memory to say either get out of the way. We just built that in so that way it's part of the automation process. And I think it's really important to note that in game number 2, although it's predictable, and in the future you can have opponents saying that you're predictable, that's true. However, there are strategies on using predictable motions and patterns. Right now, we're building a fighter from 0 to their hero. All right. So again, parry, 1, 2, parry, 2, 3, cover, 3, 2, with a kick, and then a shield, 2, 3, and then a kick, followed up by the foot jab. That's base drill. Game number 2. All right. Game number 3 is the base drill thrown randomly. So instead of continually doing it in order, the fighter now is learning what the triggers are and what his automated response would be. Okay? So instead of doing it in order, I'll do it randomly. Makes sense. So you continue to do that until the fighter acclimates to how random it would be, not trying to think of it consciously, but letting the subconscious training come to light because they've done the base drill over and over and over again, that allows the automated response to come out. And we need that from really great fighters, because if you're always thinking consciously during the fight, you'll always be the slow one. Okay, so we need a level of automation to take place. A new level of being a fighter comes into play once that base is installed. All right, game number 4. Game number 4 is basically the first one, which is target acquisition or hitting the pad. And then game number 3, which would be the random part. And we're just putting them together. So it would look like him hitting the pads, whatever I'm asking him to do. And then every so often, I feed something from the base drill that I was doing randomly. Make sense? And that would be game number 4, putting them together. All right, let's get a little bit more into what it would be like to recognize what an opponent would do. So many times, okay, and this is game number 5, the opponent's cues. Many times you see fighters, they extend their hand out like this a lot. And you can see them circling around. That is a common gesture. Not all fighters do it, but many people understand to put their hand out there to measure distance. So I'm training my fighter how to recognize that. And what is a common response? Throwing an elbow. So basically just pulling it down and throwing the same side elbow. You gotta do it on the other side, right? Maybe there's a wind-up. I've seen this before. A really good friend of mine back in the day when I was active, it was textbook. The guy, his opponent reels back, shows this right hand, and then a big knee comes out of nowhere. Boom. Opponent did it again, and then the third time. I remember that quite vividly because it was just the same thing that we saw in class. So the reel back. Okay. The next one is showing getting hurt, right? So sometimes you see somebody lean back this way. So let's turn this way. So as if they got hurt, and a lot of times they start moving back like this. This is the open spot to trigger the body shot. Right there, okay? And then I can return back to target acquisition and I can hold pads. But recognizing somebody getting hurt and moving back, okay? Another good one for Muay Thai is showing the leg turned like this. Right? There's nothing wrong with this turn this way if you're doing Western boxing, but in Muay Thai, you'll get your leg ripped. So we're gonna let the fighter recognize that the foot is turned in, so he'll kick the leg. I'll show it to him again. Okay. And the third and the last one here, not third one, but the last one is showing the entrance to the clinch. And the way I like to show it is just lifting up my knees, and then he'll just come in frame. He can turn me whichever way, or even just clench the head to signal that he's doing skip knees. So let's see what it looks like slightly in flow. Just game number 5 for him to train recognizing opponents' reactions. Okay, so. So on and so forth. Get a pretty good round or 2, probably even 3, to really get acclimated to the entire process. All right, which brings us to the final game, game number 6, which is basically everything from asking to hit the pad, asking an automated response, which would be a defend and counter action, recognizing how the opponent would react if they got hit, or maybe some common gesture like sticking out the hand. You're basically putting them all together. So let's see what that looks like. Very good. And as you can see here, all of those games put together as one with a really great consistency just in my fighters training, but being a really great pad holder really facilitates the whole thing.